He was so beautiful that I never dared to look at him for too long because even brothers can fall victim to a sister's gaze. He was my cousin, a few years younger than me. We grew up playing together, siblings, yet strangers in the eyes of the world. He had always dreamed of joining the army, and he did, fighting every battle, even at home, to make it happen. His leave ended right after I'd. Slinging his military bag over his shoulder, he reached out his hand to me. "All right, Mina, I'm leaving." So soon, an entire month just slipped away. He smiled a tired smile, the kind that only belongs to those who live far from home. It was a 2-month leave. He whispered, "Leaves never last long for soldiers," I sighed. He didn't say anything this time. I was too caught up in my TV drama, so I just shook his hand and turned back to the screen. That was our last conversation, our last meeting. One morning, there was a knock at the door. His friend's younger brother stood there, asking for my little brother. "Any news about Bilal?" "No, not yet." I don't know how he said it, how he found the words, but when I stepped outside, I saw my aunt collapsing in grief, my little brother struggling to hold her up. "What happened?" I asked again and again. No one answered. Only sobs filled the air. Finally, my little brother muttered, "Something happened to Bilal. A wound on his head. He's reckless." I murmured, more to myself than anyone else. "Always has been. He'll be fine." People started filling the house, whispering the same unbearable truth: he's gone, a martyr. But my aunt refused to believe them. She looked at everyone, shaking her head. "Why are you crying? My Bilal is fine, just a little injured. That's all." What a cursed day it was. April's final hours. By noon, his fiancée arrived. Her eyes burned with betrayal. "He lied to me," she whispered. "He broke his promise." That day, no one comforted anyone. No words of patience. No words of solace. Just silent grief, as if speaking might make the loss more real. Ashi, his fiancée, moved like a lost soul. She clung to the walls, the door frames, to me. "Sister, when will he come? How much longer?" I wanted to tell her he will never come back, and if he does, it will be in a coffin. He won't talk to you, won't tease you anymore. He's gone. Instead, I whispered, "He'll be here by 5. At 5:30, he finally arrived, like a groom, surrounded by flowers, draped in fragrance. His mother only stared. She couldn't even kiss his forehead. She just wept silently, as if even her cries had no strength left. And yet, when he arrived, it felt as though he had completed something. A void, filled only for a moment, but he was just a traveler, a guest. He stayed for a while and then left again. He had always wanted to be a groom. "Mina, don't worry, my wedding will be grand, a real celebration," he once promised. Now, his wedding was grand indeed. The military band played. The traditional rituals took place. But he left his bride behind. He left his mother to cry alone, to sing songs of sorrow instead of joy. His father, unable to bear it, followed him into the grave. He had left home in search of sustenance. 6 bullets found him instead. And now, when people talk about the military budget, when they count the dollars spent on the army, why don't they count the lives given? These lives aren't for sale. No amount of money can bring back a son. Let's keep these stories alive. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Remember, every story has a voice, and every voice deserves to be heard. Until next time, keep reading, keep feeling, and keep connecting. This is Reader's BookXpress.